active man who enjoyed plenty of outdoor activities. If Marshall Stevens wanted something physical to happen to Jenna's ex, he would do it himself. "I'm just so angry at Aaron," Beth said, leading the way to her SUV. "That cheating, lying, you-know-what." The you-know-what was, of course, a stand-in for bastard, or possibly son of a bitch. Either way, Beth didn't believe in swearing. She was a traditional kind of woman. She put on makeup before leaving the house, always brought a casserole in a covered dish when there was a death in someone's family, and never, ever had a cocktail before 5. All things Jenna loved about her. She knew people who thought traditions were stupid and a waste of time, but for Jenna, they were the warm, comforting glue that held her family together. She could count on her parents to be what they'd always been. Today, that was more important than ever. They got into her mother's SUV, a late-model gas guzzler, and drove toward the closest Starbucks. "I'll never forgive him," Beth announced. "I suppose I could accept it if he had decided that your relationship wasn't working. Not every marriage lasts. It's the cheating that makes him a weasel. I swear, if my daddy was still alive, he would go after Aaron with a shotgun and I wouldn't stop him." Some days, Jenna wouldn't have stopped him either. But her anger at her ex wasn't about the other women, although the thought of them didn't make her happy. What made her lie awake at night, questioning herself and every decision she'd ever made, was the other ways Aaron had hurt her. The cheating simply gave her an easy excuse to say why the marriage had failed. They pulled into the Starbucks parking lot. Her mother turned to her. "You get anything you want. Venti, syrup, whipped cream." Beth wrinkled her nose. "I won't even mention how resentful I am that you're as skinny as a string bean and I'm stuck with thighs that hate me. That's how much I love you." Jenna laughed and then leaned across the console and hugged her mother. "I love you too, Mom. Thank you. I haven't bought the coffee yet." The thank you wasn't about the drink, but then her mother already knew that. "I'm glad you're home," Beth told her as she climbed out of the SUV. "This is where you belong. Real people live in Texas, not in Los Angeles. All those Hollywood types." She sniffed. "Is there anyone normal in the city?" "A few, but they never go out at night." Jenna linked arms with her. "I'm glad I'm home, too." Jenna couldn't quite escape the feeling that going back to look at her store was like returning to the scene of the crime. But it had to be done, and someone, probably her, needed to get her business started. Despite having spent the past couple of weeks getting things ready for the grand opening, every time she pulled into the parking lot and stared at the space she'd rented, she couldn't bring herself to believe it. 3 months ago, she'd been in Los Angeles. Her husband had walked into their tiny bathroom while she'd been brushing her teeth and had announced he was leaving her for another woman. He was in love, and he was leaving. What Jenna remembered most was standing in that cramped space, wondering when she was supposed to spit. At what point in that kind of confession was it polite or expected for her to lean over the sink, spit, and rinse? She'd been unable to speak with all that toothpaste in her mouth, so she'd stood there like an idiot. Eventually, Aaron had walked out, leaving her stunned, emotionally shattered, and with toothpaste dribbling down her chin. Later, they'd talked, or he'd talked, explaining all the reasons the breakup was her fault. She realized now that that was Aaron's thing, taking whatever was good and strong in a person and systematically destroying it. On the outside, he was pure charm, all dark good looks and an easy smile. On the inside, he was the devil, or at the very least, an evil minion. She supposed she could have fought for her marriage, but a part of her had been relieved to have a reason to leave. So she'd packed up everything she owned and had returned to Georgetown, Texas. She'd been lost, so going home had made sense, as much as anything could under the circumstances. She was grateful her parents had never asked why she didn't try to get a job in a restaurant. She'd been a professional chef for nearly a decade. It was what she knew, or it had been. Today, cooking anything seemed impossible. Oh,